Hi, my name is Serena Arora. I am an Ayurvedic Health Practitioner and certified yoga therapist, and this is a series of talks that brings Ayurvedic practices to promote optimal health and sustainable healing. And I really look forward to sharing them with you. Good afternoon. How's everyone? Good. All right, today we will talk about somatics. Somatic movement, but also more so why we do somatic movement, okay? And it is really about emotions, the issues in our tissues, we often say, yes. So it's not really in your book necessarily, so it's okay, don't worry. I mean, it is, but we don't need to go there just yet. So yesterday we spoke about kriyas. Kriyas are cleansing. They're to cleanse. They mean cleansing. And we talk a lot about losing control. Whatever you're doing, right? Moving. And losing control is a form of somatic movement. So in nature, in the natural world, there was a study that was done in the late 70s, and they were trying to understand animal behavior and emotions. Like, what do animals have emotions? Yes, they do. How do they process these emotions? And so there was a documentary, and it was filmed, and it was not a drone because it didn't exist in the 70s, but like an overhead camera. Like it was in a helicopter. So there was a helicopter that was filming this, and there was also an underground camera, and they were filming a rabbit. And they were like, okay, well let's follow this rabbit and see what happens in the day in the life of a rabbit. So the rabbit was hopping along and in the tundra and just hopping around all fine, eating, and then all of a sudden, poof, his ears go up, his eyes get big, and he stopped smelling. Like, usually like their noses are moving. He just like literally froze, looked up. Even his tail was up. And all of a sudden, he takes off. And so then the overhead, you can see this fox that was in the hiding. And so there's this chase. The chase is on. And the fox is running after the rabbit, and they're darting all around, over, under, up, down, all around. And then finally, it finds its burrow, and it dives into its burrow. And so then the underground camera is on now. And you can see the fox's nose coming through the hole, trying to get at this rabbit. And it's like, okay, how am I gonna? And it's like digging and trying to get in. And all of a sudden, the rabbit literally, like rigor mortis, completely freezes. He completely, like, looks basically dead. And then it's time-lapsed. And it goes on he probably was there about 5 minutes, or 5, 6, 7 minutes or so. Finally, the fox gave up and leaves. For 2 more minutes, the rabbit was seemingly dead. And then all of a sudden, it kind of like starts shaking. And it started shaking slowly at first, and then all of a sudden, like very vigorous shaking. And it shook off, literally, its fear, its emotions, popped right back up, looked out of the hole, didn't see anything, jumped out, and went along its merry way. And so animals have this grand natural capacity to literally shake off their emotions, the emotion of fear, especially specifically, because they are in that situation, sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight. Whoop, I am prey. I have to escape. This is their survival mechanism. They're in survival mechanism. If they were constantly in SNS, sympathetic nervous system, if they were constantly in fight or flight, what would happen? They'd be us. Right? We're like constant. No, we're not constantly. Technically, or ideally, we switch between sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. We switch, and we can ultimately find that we can feel balanced in that. Of course, we do need to be in sympathetic nervous system at some times, and of course, to be alert, to be aware, to think, to do all these things. But there's place, and there's time, and there's a need for rest and digest, the parasympathetic nervous system. The animals know this. They know they need to be in rest and digest, otherwise they won't survive. And they have this natural ability to literally shake off, so that they remember it, they'll remember it, but it's not stuck in them. They remember what it sounds like. That's, oh, I think I'm in danger. And that danger mechanism has been set. Now they can flee, they can fight, they can flee, or they can freeze, which we just saw the rabbit do. All of those things. Well, not fight. So when it comes to that, human beings, we get afraid, something happens, whoop, our ears go up, our eyes go wide, our pupils dilate, our organs constrict, our natural functioning ceases, like, so we stop needing to go to the bathroom or those kinds of things. Everything kind of like holds in, and we're in fight or flight or freeze. Okay, what's happening? Then the danger goes away. What do? Just carry on, but we did not shake it off consciously, even subconsciously. We didn't, I mean, sometimes you're like, oh, boy, that was, what just happened? Or, you know, it's like shake it off, literally shake it off. And so some of us may naturally do that. But somatic work, somatic movement is losing control. The Kriyas, for example, is a way to release the trapped emotion inside of us. And that's what's working. That is what is happening. And so there are certain somatic exercises, like a shake, just literally a shaking. You just shake your body, shake, 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 and you can shake for a few minutes. Just shaking will release some of the emotions that are in our tissues, because we're shaking, physically shaking our tissues. Now, the somatic nervous system is very interesting. And I'm not going to go too much into it in detail because that's not going to help you. But what I want to sort of, so you can get a bigger picture of it, is, so you can understand it and see it, is this is the autonomic nervous system, and it's split like this. So this is the central nervous system. Central nervous system is split left side, right side. Which side should be the right side? Just make it the right side. Okay. So sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight, or freeze. And there's also one other that they say is fawn. Have you heard of that? Yeah, fawn. So fawning is like going towards the danger, like leaning towards it. So like if you feel you're threatened, you can start to like charm it, or maybe you can like talk your way out of it, or you know, you can start to manipulate the situation, or maybe, you know, you distract them somehow. So there's that as well. Okay, then there's the parasympathetic nervous system. And that is rest and digest. So these are the two that we're most familiar with. And that's in your book. You can look at that later. So that is what we're most familiar with. But there's also another side to this, which is not this. Somatic nervous system. So if you look at parasympathetic and sympathetic, rest and digest, fight or flight, do you have to think about it? You have to think about digesting the food that you're eating right now. You have to think about breathing. No, this happens automatically. What doesn't happen automatically in us humans is this. Somatic nervous system is conscious. 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 Is that right? Okay. Conscious movement and awareness, breath, conscious movement, okay, that's fine. Musculoskeletal movement, conscious awareness. So you are aware, you are breathing, and you have musculoskeletal movement. So you're actually physically moving, and you're aware of that movement, and you're syncing breath with that movement. So it's or right? The kriyas. So we have these kriyas that we're syncing breath, movement, and awareness. We're shaking. We're syncing breath, ideally, movement, and we're aware of it. We're aware of what we're doing. Then there's slow somatic movement, slow conscious movement that is repeated a few times. So for example, you do it in class already. There's something that you remember the spinal move, the pelvic rocks. Inhale, exhale. You're on your back. Slow, conscious awareness and breath. Cat cow. Inhale, exhale. Repeat. Inhale, exhale. And you keep repeating the same movements over and over again, but they're slow and they're conscious. Okay, so maybe there's inhale, or today actually Kevin had you do the bridge, and it was moving your arms. So inhale, pelvic rock tilt, exhale, pelvic rock tilt, inhale, raise your arms, exhale, lower down. So you're conscious of what you're doing, but you're breathing and moving and slowing down. So that is going to speak to the somatic nervous system. And when we start speaking to somatic nervous system, that is when the deeper tissues, the deeper below like in the tissues, but below the skin, we have, what do we have below the skin? Pressure. Before that, but yes. Adipose tissue, good. So skin, then it's adipose tissue, so fat, and then below that is fascia, and then below that is muscle. So, thank you, good. So in all of that, we have this thing called fascia. Fascia is like the webbing. So think of it as a huge net that makes you up, and it's cinched together in certain spots around the muscles. But if you were to pull it all apart, you'd have your singular muscles. Muscles are separate, but it's one big net, the fascia. So you are all connected. That's why the what is it? The elbow bone connected to the knee bone, the knee bone connected, I don't know, right? So we're all connected. That's why when I've, as a yoga therapist, I talk about this often. If you have low back pain, it may not be your low back. It may be because you clenched your jaw, and vice versa. Okay, so how to notice how we're connected, and we're going to talk about those things a little bit later on, but we mostly talk about it in the therapeutic Ayurveda program. So the therapeutic Ayurveda yoga specialist program, that's when we really start to connect the dots of like upper body, lower body, the emotions in the tissues, and then how we're all connected. So in all of this, we can start to release the emotions. Who came up with this? Thomas Hanna and Mokshe Feldenkrais. They brought it to the West in the late 60s. They were osteopaths in Germany, and they were studying the human body, and they were like, why is it that we are feeling tense? Someone comes to a massage. They were massage therapists as well. They come for a massage. You get a massage. You feel pretty good, you're loose, you go back home, and then a few days later, we're back up, we're back in, our shoulders are here again, we're tense, that didn't work, we'll say. So it's because of the fascia. We can loosen the muscles all we want, and the pressure on the outside can loosen some of the fascial tissue and can loosen some of the muscles, But what truly makes it more sustainable is somatic work. When you can start to relax from the inside out, they realized it's an inside job. This rolling on balls and all of that can help, but it's not permanent. It's not sustainable. Because the emotions live in the fascia. The emotions get caught in the fascia. And so when you can start to unravel the fascia on a more sustainable way, so let's say you do these slow, gentle exercises or slow conscious movements for half an hour, that could be equivalent to, sleep. You're using gamma brain waves. You're using these, like meditation. You're using these you're in this blissful state where you're not analyzing, you're not thinking, you're not dreaming, you're not sleeping. You're not doing any of these things, but you're in this like meditative state where you know what's happening, but it doesn't matter. It's like it's going in and out, in and out. And so when we're in that state, meditation, yoga nidra, and somatic movement, when you're in that gamma brainwave, that's when you're starting to create more neuroplasticity. That's when you're starting to change your behavioral patterns, and that's when your fascia can actually start to feel relaxed and start to unravel more sustainably. Okay. So this is where this work began, and this is why we do the things we do in our sequence. So this is why we do the kriyas. This is why we start every day with the kriyas, to start to, let's unravel some of this emotion. What we're working towards is going to be one big kriya. Okay, you're going to work your way towards your thinking, you're starting to unravel some of your thought behaviors, you're starting to pinpoint where things come from, start to notice where it shows up in your body. And then now at the end, this is the purge, the last purge. And as you move towards that, then you can start to rebuild. Then you can start to heal. Then you can start to nourish. But you want to really start, it's an inside job. So on page, potentially, 90, it might be different for you. There's a chart that says therapeutics for Swastha sequence. Noelle, tell me what page it's on. Further. All the way near the end. Oh, you're already at the end. 103? 103. Thank you. Okay. The bottom chart. This is where we're going to look right now. I had mentioned earlier that certain emotions live in certain organs. So let's go there. Who remembers what emotion lives in the lungs? Grief. What else? Sadness. Loneliness. Yeah, good. All right, so let's start with Vata. Okay, Vata. Vata is air and space. I shouldn't have told you what page it's on. Now I've lost you. Okay, Vata is air and space. It's wind energy. It gets caught. Now the seat of Vata is in the pelvis, but when it goes in certain organs, it can create certain emotions. So when Vata is in the kidneys, that is fear producing. Okay, so let me rephrase that. When we think about when we feel an emotion, normally it's stored somewhere. It's stored in an organ because that's the best and safest place for it to be in order to be eliminated. So the body's brilliant. The body's like, okay, I'm going to put fear in your kidneys so that every time you drink hot water to flush out your kidneys and you can start to you pee, every time you pee, you're going to pee out some fear. So that you don't store that emotion. That's a pretty tough emotion to hold on to. So that's the one we want to get out the most. So what do you do the most during a day? Well, pee. So let me put it in there, and then you can get rid of it. And fear, anxiety, or worry, those are the things. Those are like the the cortisol, those stressors that go into your pee. Has anyone peed in the toilet and it's bubbly? Yeah, I'm sure. And that's Vata. So bubbles in your pee, it's Vata. It's air and space. Air and space in your pee. So, anyone had burning pee? Yes? Burning pee? Pitta. Pitta in your pee, right? So it's like, these are the sensations, these are the feelings. So, and that's not good. We don't want Pitta in our pee. Vata in our pee, okay, we can handle. But Pitta in our pee, tough. That's not a good one. So, Vata is the dosha that of the emotions. So the emotions in your kidneys are fear, anxiety, and worry, and those are Vata emotions. Those are Vata emotions. And we won't go into the therapeutic just yet. Vata also is stored in the colon. The colon. And so in this low spot, why? We've mentioned it before. Why do we want Vata in the colon? To get it out. So we get it out. It's a good spot for it. It's a great way to eliminate it. And we can do it daily, hopefully. And so getting rid of guilt and fragility. So the feelings of guilt, fragility, meaning like not, overwhelmed maybe is a good one, is also something that you can think about in the colon. So the overwhelmed is a Vata emotion. Okay. So for Vata, let's go with that. If you were to have to want to flush out the Vata in your kidneys, want to flush out the emotion in your kidneys, what's a good pose? Think about your kidneys. What do you want to do to them? You want to lie on your back. Okay, good. Why? Pressure. Excellent. So you want to lie on your back, get your kidneys on the floor, and then use your body weight to put pressure on it. We want to put pressure on the seat, this where the organ. So one of the poses you have in your sequence is happy baby. Oh, okay. That's a good one. And knees to the chest. So happy baby, knees to the chest, wind relieving, or one specific for the kidneys? Kidney rinse. It's at the end. Have you taught that yet? No, you haven't. Head comes up, so yes. So it's in wind relieving, but your head comes up, so you can actually target the kidneys. So when your head, I'm sitting on the mic. Okay. So when my head is down, I'm distributing the weight more evenly. But when my head is up, I'm really focusing on kidneys. And rocking side to side is a great way to put pressure on both of my kidneys. And not only put pressure, this is what's happening when I'm putting pressure. I'm squeezing and soaking it. Squeezing and soaking, squeezing and soaking. So that's what you want to do, is put pressure on it and kind of wring it out. Wring it out. Okay, good. What's another way to squeeze your kidneys? What's another pose that can squeeze your kidneys? Squeeze and soak your kidneys.
Pelvic rocks, I guess, if you're pushing down on your lower.
Okay.
Squeezing your kidneys as well.
Okay, that's pushing down. There's another one where it's the opposite, where you're lying on your belly, which is which pose? All right, good. So here we are, and look at this. So now we give space, we take our swim action, and we squeeze, we lift our body up, squeeze our kidneys behind us, and then lower down, soak it in. Squeeze by lifting and putting lots of pressure, like internal pressure in your organs, in your kidneys, and then exhale, lower down, soak all the blood and when your organ is being squeezed on the inside, when it's released, automatically blood and prana go to that organ. And so it's flushing it out internally without you really having to do anything. Amazing. So squeeze and soak. So cobra swims are a good one for kidneys. Okay. The next one is alternate nostril breath. So this one's good to, let's just do it. Right hand. Put, some people like to say peace fingers with your right hand only, and then flip it. So the fingers that are down are now up, and the fingers that were up are now down. Is that confusing? Yeah. Okay. So leave extended your right thumb, your pinky finger, and your ring finger. Yeah. Only on your right hand. Your other right hand, Julia. Oh, that's your right hand, sorry. Okay. Okay. So take your right thumb and put it on your right nostril. Right thumb on right nostril. Inhale, left side. Pause at the top, switch, release your thumb, place your ring finger on your left nostril, exhale, right side. Good. Inhale, right nostril, pause at the top, switch, release your ring finger, replace your thumb, exhale, left nostril. That's one round. Okay. So one round of alternate nostril right breathing is start on the left, finish on the left. And 8 to 10 rounds is a really great way to relax your kidneys, actually, and to calm your nervous system and to decrease Vata. You know, when you're very distracted or fidgety or you're looking around and you can't keep your eyes closed, you can either do it this way or you can just do it psychically. Just imagine. So you close your eyes and imagine the breath going up the left side of your body from your foot, leg, hip, side of your body, side of your chest, neck and arm, head, left side of your face. Exhale down the right side of your face, neck, shoulder, arm, rib cage, hip, leg, and foot. Up your right side, all the way from your right foot, all the way up your right side to the right side of your head and face. And then down the left side, face, neck, shoulders, ribs, hip, leg, and foot. So you can just simply imagine that. And you could do that anywhere, anytime. You can do it in meditation. You can do it driving. You can do it in an argument. You can do it on a date. Whatever you're in. It's like, yes. You can automatic listen and just do your alternate nostril. Imagine your alternate nostril. Okay. Good. So this is it. That's the way to calm down. Letting go of fear, letting go of anxiety, letting go of worry, and you always have it. You always have your breath. It's in your back pocket. Okay. Colon, Vata in the colon, you said the pose for that one. Before that. Knees to chest. So knees to chest is the wind relieving pose. So that's literally relieving wind. Great for Vata, getting Vata out of your colon. Okay, so getting rid of guilt. So you relieve some wind. You feel guilty, so relieve some wind, and don't feel guilty anymore. Hi, right? See how counterintuitive it is. So that's the thing. Next time, I told you I had a teacher make your mat a fart-friendly zone. Make your mat a fart-friendly zone. No guilt, because it must come out. So let it come out. No guilt, because it's the opposite. You're holding a lot of guilt if you're not. Okay. All right. So also wind relieving, but also malasana. So malasana is yogi squat. That's this one, which is also what in a different orientation? Oh, interesting. Yeah. Yes. Happy baby. Yeah. Okay, good. And Apanasana, which is another word for wind relieving. Okay. So wind relieving, also known as Pawan Muktasana. So Apana. This is the word apana is in here. Apana means downward moving energy. Downward moving energy. We want Vata down. Air and space up. It's flighty. When it's up in our head, we're distracted, we're looking around, it's like fidgeting, we're moving a lot, we talk a lot, okay? When it's down, that's grounded Vata. We're all going to have Vata, but when you have grounded Vata versus floaty, chaotic Vata, you can tell. Work on Apana, downward motion. So Bu Mudra, that's downward motion. Apanasana, this is another mudra. You can interlace your fingers, place your pointer fingers down, cross your thumbs, and point everything down. That is literally Apana mudra. You're creating downward moving energy. Makes sense, right? Pointing down. So now you're on your date, and you're like thinking about, you're automatically listening, and you're doing automatic or psychic alternate nostril breathing, and your hands are like this.
That's not good if you're a guy.
Well, you might be at a table and they can't see. Or if you're getting frustrated, this is a different one, but when you're frustrated, what's the pitta breath? Do you remember? Yeah? So like, can you imagine like Kevin and my conversations? Like, all right. So we'll do the rest next time. We'll do pitta next time. All right, thanks for listening.